Hello everyone, I'm Okubo Junichi, Director of Machida City Museum of Art.
I'm Curator Takisawa Kyoshi.
I'm Curator Murase Kana.
Here at our museum, we are holding the exhibition Ukiyo-e Landscapes, Hiroshige, Kiyochika, and Hasui, Eyes of Three Generations, from July 10th to September 12th. Today, we are going to talk about the charm of the works by three landscape print artists featured in this exhibition, Hiroshige, Kiyochika, and Hasui. Let's begin with Utagawa Hiroshige, the world's famous artist who was active in the first half of the 19th century. Utagawa Hiroshige is known as the artist who was established landscapes as a genre of its own in the history of Ukiyo-e. Hiroshige was about one generation younger than Hokusai. Hokusai's 36 views of Mount Fuji proved a great hit in 1831, when Hokusai was 72. After that, Hiroshige, still in his mid-30s, finally branched out into the field of landscapes on a full scale. These two artists' styles are remarkably different. Whereas Hokusai aimed at surprising the viewer with daring compositions and combinations of eccentric motifs, Hiroshige tried to express the tasteful atmosphere brought about by changes in the seasons or weather. Furthermore, Hiroshige had outstanding talent among the ukiyo-e artists of his time to reproduce depth of space in his works. Using a variety of techniques such as linear perspective and aerial perspective, he created landscapes full of reality. He continued to produce series of Tokaido, Edo, and other parts of Japan. He was active as the foremost authority on ukiyo-e landscapes until his death in 1858. This is the first print of the series depicting Tokaido, which brought Hiroshige into prominence. Early in the morning, a daimyo's procession is crossing Nihonbashi on its way back to its native province. There are vegetable and fish peddlers walking across the street. See how the bridge is foreshortened and the procession keeps coming out from the opposite bank. Hiroshige cleverly captures the sense of depth. The composition peeping at the views through the open gate expresses the sense of depth and makes you feel as if you were actually there. The existence of the open gate also announces the start of this series. This is the annual horse market held in the field to the east of Chiryu Post Station along Tokaido in early summer. There are horses grazing peacefully on the open meadows. The tiny figures in the distance are the horse dealers trading under a pine tree. The meadows full of green grasses stretch as far as the horizon. A gust of wind blowing across those meadows is portrayed in different shades of green, like ripples spreading across the surface of the water. By watching this scene, we can feel the refreshing air of the early summer. The way Hiroshige expresses the motion of the invisible wind in different shades of green is superb.
Next, we will move on to Kobayashi Kiyochika, who was active in the latter half of the 19th century.
Kobayashi Kiyochika was an ukiyo-e artist who was active during the Meiji era, the latter half of the 19th century. In the Meiji era, Japan was influenced by Western civilization and eagerly adopted new infrastructures and lifestyles which hadn't existed until then. Western-style buildings, gas lights, and people dressed in Western-style clothes appeared in town. Living in Tokyo, he depicted the city changing from day to day in ukiyo-e. Kiyochika's prints adopted expressions of light and shadow which could be found in Western paintings. By doing so, he pioneered a new style in ukiyo-e prints. Such works are commonly referred to as kosenga, lightweight pictures. He tried representing the beautiful colors of the sky or river at dawn or sunset and subtle nuances of neutral colors. He also captured the season and weather with a sensitivity which reminds us of works of Hiroshige. Kiyochika was highly esteemed in later ages and was to be called the Hiroshige of the Meiji era. This is a view of Tokyo in the snow. The soaring building is Daiichi National Bank, which opened as the first national bank in Japan in 1873. A Western-style structure with a veranda is combined with a Japanese-style roof and tower. The architecture blending Japanese and Western styles was often depicted in ukiyo-e in those days. Look at the woman at the center. She's wearing a kimono and is using a traditional Japanese umbrella. This print aptly reveals the atmosphere of the time, with new things and old things coexisting. This is a view of Kanda River at night. The warm light of a lantern shining through a pleasure boat radiantly tinges the surface of the river. Flickering in the dark are countless glows of fireflies. No doubt the people in the boat are enjoying the quiet, dreamy, nocturnal scene. In Hiroshige's time, even at night time, the figures were portrayed clearly in ukiyo-e. Kiyochika's attempts at expressing the dark night with silhouettes and faint light were highly advanced.
Now, lastly, we will take a look at Kawase Hasui, who was active in the first half of the 20th century. In the early 1910s, the ukiyo-e dealer and publisher Watanabe Shozaburo began producing and publishing new prints called shinhanga, while carrying on the tradition of ukiyo-e prints produced through a collaboration among the artist, the cover, and the printer. He aimed at producing prints full of creative and fit for the new era. Kawase Hasui was pupil of Kaburan Kiyokata, a Nihonga painter and illustrator whose lineage could be traced back to ukiyo-e artists of the Utagawa school. Hasui was the most prolific print artist of shinhanga. The subject matters he worked on were landscapes. In addition to Tokyo, where Hasui was born, he made prints of scenes all over Japan, from Hokkaido to Kyushu. In some cases, the location or composition he chose suggests that he learned from the prints by Hiroshige or Kiyochika. However, the landscape prints by Hasui are places he actually visited, chose, emphasized with sketched, and made prints of. While quoting methods of expression from ukiyo-e, Hasui produced his landscape prints with a modern eye. The main gate of Zojoshi, a temple in Shiba, Tokyo, is depicted largely towards the upper right. In the foreground, there is a pine tree surrounding to the left. Between the gate and the tree, a woman is walking amid the drifting snow with her umbrella half closed. Note how Hasui allows the stillness and heftiness of the red gate and the mobility and airiness of the drifting snow to coexist. The coexisting of these contrasting elements provides the overall expression with more amplitude. Kiyosubashi is a fully concrete bridge completed in 1928 as part of the construction work on the imperial metropolis following the Great Kanto earthquake of 1923. This is a winter twilight scene soon after sunset. The twilight sky is portrayed in transparent blue. In front of that, the bridge appears in black, revealing its majesty and elegant form. The street light lit up and reflected on the surface of the water bring about a gem-like decorative effect.
introduction, the exhibition is on show until September 12th.
If you live nearby, please come and enjoy the exhibition.
We look forward to seeing you at the museum.
Bye.
Bye bye.